I never thought a dusty Montana morning could turn my world upside down. But that's exactly what happened on that fateful drive through the outskirts of Billings. The sun was just cresting over the rolling hills, casting long shadows across the sagebrush and cattle fences that dotted Highway 3. I'd been up since dawn, nursing a lukewarm coffee in my old Ford pickup, heading to my shift at the local clinic where I worked as a nurse's aide. Life had been a grind since Dad passed 2 years back. Heart failure hit him hard after decades of ranch work. But I'd kept pushing, one foot in front of the other, trying to bridge the gap with my sister, Emily, who'd always been the golden child in our family. Emily and her husband, Travis, lived in a cozy spread just outside town, the kind of place with white picket fences and a view of the Yellowstone River that made you envious. They'd inherited Dad's old ranch house after his death. Or so the paperwork said. Me? I got the smaller stuff, his favorite shotgun, some old photos, and a beat-up toolbox that still smelled like hay and motor oil. I didn't fight it back then. Grief makes you numb. And Emily had always handled the business side of things. But that morning, as I cruised along with the radio playing some twangy country tune about lost love, everything changed in a split second. I didn't hear the screech of tires. I just felt the impact. A distracted driver in a shiny SUV blew through a stop sign at the rural intersection, T-boning my truck on the driver's side. Metal crunched, glass shattered, and my body jerked like a marionette cut loose. The world spun in a haze of pain and dust. When I came to, paramedics were hovering, their voices muffled like I was underwater.
Mom, can you hear me?
Stay with us. My left arm throbbed, probably broken, and blood trickled from a gash on my forehead. They loaded me into the ambulance, sirens wailing as we raced to Billings Clinic. In the ER, under those harsh fluorescent lights, the chaos blurred into questions. Emergency contact? A nurse asked, clipboard in hand. My mind raced. Mom had died young, and friends were scattered. Emily's number was the only one I could rattle off without thinking. My sister, I croaked. Emily Hayes. And her husband, Travis. They nodded, made the call. Time dragged as they stitched me up, x-rayed my arm clean break. Thank God. And monitored for concussion. No internal bleeding, but I'd be in a cast for weeks. Then the nurse returned, her face pinched. We reached your brother-in-law,
He said.
Okay.
Just that.
One word. No rush to the hospital. No questions about my condition.
Iserte her.
The Ford dripped cold in my vein. That's it. She shrugged sympathetically. Afraid so. Want us to try again? I shook my head, a knot forming in my gut. Travis had always been the pragmatic type, ran a small construction business in town, but this? It felt like a slap. Emily didn't call back either. Hours ticked by in that sterile room, the beeps of monitors mocking my isolation. By afternoon, they discharged me with pain meds and instructions to rest. No one showed up to drive me home. I called an Uber out here. It's more like a local rideshare with ranchers moonlighting, and slid into the back of a dusty Chevy. The driver, a grizzled guy named Hank, glanced at my sling. Rough day.
Huh.
You okay? I forced a smile. I'll live. As we bumped along the gravel roads toward my modest apartment in Lockwood, his phone rang on speaker. He answered without muting. Yeah, a woman's voice crackled through. She's alive?
Damn.
That throws a wrench in things. My blood ran cold. It was Emily. No doubt, that sharp Montana twang she'd picked up from years of barrel racing as a kid. Hank fumbled.
Sorry. Mom.
Wrong call, and hung up quick. But I'd heard it. She wasn't relieved. She was disappointed. Like my survival complicated some plan. I didn't react outwardly. Just stared at the passing prairies. Mind racing.
Why?
What things did my accident mess up? Back home, the apartment felt emptier than ever. I eased onto the couch, arm throbbing, and replayed the day. The indifference wasn't new. Emily had always been distant, prioritizing her life with Travis over family ties. But this, it smelled like betrayal. I grabbed my phone, cracked screen and all, and screenshot the ride details. If Hank's truck had a dash cam, many do out here for insurance, I'd subpoena it later.
For now,
I needed answers. Digging through a closet box labeled Dad's stuff, I found old envelopes, faded postcards from my travels nursing in Wyoming, and, at the bottom, a sealed letter in Dad's handwriting. My heart pounded as I opened it. If you're reading this, Riley, it means they've tried to cut you out. The ranch is yours fully. Don't let them twist it. Tucked inside was a handwritten will, dated a year before his death, leaving the family ranch to me alone. No shares.
no ambiguity.
It hit me like a Montana thunderstorm. Emily and Travis had forged the official will filed with the county clerk. That's why the deed transferred so fast after the funeral, 6 days flat. No probate hearing needed in our small-town court. I'd been too grief-stricken to question it. Anger bubbled.
But so did clarity.
This wasn't just about a house. It was about erasing me from our family's legacy. I scanned the will, uploaded it to a secure cloud, and texted Travis. Found Dad's real will. We need to talk. His reply came quick. Thought you'd never dig this deep. Let's meet.
No denial.
Just confirmation. As the sun set over the rim rocks, I whispered to the empty room. Game on. But deep down, I hoped for reconciliation. Not war. Family's supposed to stick,
Right?
even in the Wild West. The next few days blurred into a haze of painkillers and planning. My arm in its cast made everything a chore, showering, cooking microwave dinners, even typing on my laptop. But the real ache was deeper, gnawing at my sense of trust. Growing up on that ranch outside Billings, Dad had taught us both to rope calves and mend fences, but Emily always shone brighter. Prom queen.
Rodeo champ.
The one who married local hero Travis Hayes. High school quarterback turned contractor.
Me?
I was the quiet one. The caregiver who stuck around when Dad's health failed, handling his meds and doctor's runs while Emily built her future. I couldn't shake Emily's overheard words. That throws a wrench in things. What things? Inheritance taxes? Selling the ranch? Montana law is clear on wills. Handwritten ones are valid if witnessed. And Dad's had 2 signatures from old ranch hands. But the official version filed after his death named Emily as sole heir. Forgery? That's a felony here. Up to 10 years if proven. I wasn't out for blood.
Though.
I wanted truth. Maybe even understanding. Why cut me out? Jealousy? Greed? I called Aunt Clara, Mom's sister in Bozeman, the one family member who'd always played neutral. Riley. Honey, she said over the phone, her voice crackling like dry leaves. I heard about the accident. You okay? I filled her in, voice steady. And I found Dad's real will. Silence. Then a sigh. I wondered. Emily pushed that probate through mighty quick. Said you agreed to it all.
Lies.
More lies. Clara promised to dig through her old emails, maybe something from Dad.
Meanwhile,
Travis suggested a family sit-down at their place Sunday evening. I agreed, but not blindly. I printed copies of the will, stashed the original in a safe deposit box at the bank downtown, and even recorded a voice memo on my phone detailing the discovery just in case. Montana's a one-party consent state for recordings, so legal cover there. As I drove out to their spread that afternoon, the big skies stretched endless above. But my mind was a storm cloud. Their house, our old family ranch, really loomed with its wraparound porch and barn in the distance. Cattle grazed peacefully, oblivious. They'd set up in the living room, chairs in a semicircle like some intervention. Emily, looking polished in jeans and a flannel shirt, Travis beside her with his arms crossed. Aunt Clara was there too, surprisingly, along with Cousin Jake from Helena. "Glad you came, Riley," Emily said, her smile tight. "We can sort this out privately."
He said.
Bag with envelopes in my lap. "Sort what?" "The forged will." The room tensed. Travis leaned forward. "Whoa. Forged? That's a strong word." Dad was confused near the end, changed his mind.
"Bull."
I pulled out a copy, slid it across the coffee table. "This is dated before his heart got bad. Witnesses confirm it." Jake shifted uncomfortably. Clara cleared her throat. "I remember him saying the ranch should go to Riley. She's the one who stayed rooted here." Emily's face flushed. "You were always Dad's favorite, traveling around nursing, leaving me to handle everything." There was resentment bubbling up. "I handled his care," I shot back. "You handled the papers." Travis tried to mediate. "Look, we can split it 50-50.
"No courts."
But Clara dropped a bomb. "I found an email from your dad, Riley. He warned me about changes Emily might push. Said protect the original." The air thickened. Jake mumbled. "Emily told us you didn't want the hassle of the ranch. More gaslighting." I didn't yell, I just laid out facts. Under Montana statute, probate fraud voids the deed. I could sue. Emily teared up. "Why drag us through this? We're family." I paused, heart softening a bit. "Because family doesn't steal from each other. But maybe we talk it out with a mediator first." No one objected. As I left, the sunset painted the prairies gold, and for the first time, hope flickered. Revenge?
Nah.
Resolution. That night, back in my apartment, I scrolled old photos, me and Emily as kids, riding horses bareback, Dad grinning behind us. What broke us? Mom's death when we were teens? Dad favoring my steadiness over her flair? I texted Emily, "Let's try therapy." For Dad's sake. No reply, but it planted a seed. The next morning, a knock, "Jake." "Emily's spiraling," he said. Admits she panicked after Dad died. Forged it with Travis to secure the place. Thought you'd never notice. My jaw dropped. Why?
Debt.
Travis's business tanked. They needed to sell parcels. Sympathy mixed with anger. Montana's harsh, droughts. Market crashes hit hard. But forgery? Still wrong. "Tell them to come clean," I said. "We fix this legally. Together." Jake nodded. Over coffee. He shared stories. Emily's postpartum depression after her kid, my nephew I'd barely seen. Travis's gambling habit. Layers I had known. Humanizing them didn't excuse it, but it opened a door. I hired a lawyer. Not for war, but mediation. MS. Patton. A no-nonsense billings attorney. Reviewed everything. Clear case of fraud. But if they cooperate, we void the deed quietly. Transfer to you. Maybe settle civilly. I agreed. No criminal charges. That'd tear us apart forever. Emily called finally. "I'm sorry, Riley." I was scared. Tears on both ends. Me too. We met at Patton's office. Papers spread like a peace treaty. Travis looked defeated. We messed up bad. As we signed to nullify the fake will, a weight lifted. The ranch was mine legally. But I proposed. Co-own it? Turn it into a family retreat. Teach my nephew ranching. They stared. Then nodded. A humane fix, clear laws upheld. But with grace. Lesson? Communication beats silence. Family's messy, but fixable under that big Montana sky. With the deed officially in my name after the quiet court filing, no big trial. Just a judge's stamp voiding the fraud, I stood on the ranch porch, cast arm and all, watching the wind ripple through the alfalfa fields. It felt right, but empty, without ties mended. Emily and Travis had admitted everything in mediation. The forgery was a desperate act amid mounting bills. Travis's construction gigs dried up during a local recession, and Emily, juggling motherhood and a part-time job at the feed store, saw the ranch as a quick flip to developers eyeing Montana's booming real estate. But here's where humanity kicked in. I didn't evict them. Instead, we drafted a family agreement, legal and binding under state property laws. I'd hold title, but they'd stay rent-free while paying off a fair share of back taxes they'd skimmed. In return, we'd co-manage the place, me handling day-to-day like fence repairs once my arm healed. Them focusing on livestock. It's Dad's legacy, I said in Patton's office. Not a battlefield. Emily hugged me then. First time in years. I was jealous. Riley, you were always the reliable one. Travis mumbled apologies, promising AA meetings for his gambling. Life shifted gears. My accident recovery gave me time to reflect, concussion fog lifting like morning mist over the Beartooth Mountains. I started journaling, piecing together our fractured history. Dad's favoritism? Real, but unintentional. He'd confide in me during late-night talks by the fire pit, sharing worries about Emily's impulsiveness. She's a free spirit, he'd say. You ground us. But I never shared that with her, assuming she knew. Lesson emerging, assumptions erode families like erosion carves canyons. One crisp fall day, I invited the whole crew, Aunt Clara, Jake, even some old neighbors for a barbecue. Smoke from the grill mingled with laughter as my nephew, little Cody, chased chickens around the yard. Emily and I sat on the swing, beers in hand. Remember Mom teaching us to bake biscuits? She asked. I nodded. We fought over who got the biggest one. She laughed, then sobered. I thought after Dad died, you'd bail like I did in my 20s. Never, I said. But you shut me out. Tears welled. Fear. Thought you'd judge our mess. That conversation sparked weekly family dinners, no agendas. Just stories. Travis opened up about his dad's abandonment, how it fueled his risky bets. Thought money would fix it. I shared my loneliness post-accident. That gut punch, okay, text. Felt like I didn't matter. He winced. Worst mistake. Panic mode. Legally. We tied loose ends. Patton filed for restitution. Travis repaid forged loan docs with installment plans. No jail time since I didn't press charges. Montana courts favor rehabilitation over punishment in family disputes, especially with cooperation. As winter snow blanketed the ranch, I dove into community work, volunteered at the clinic's outreach for rural families hit by economic woes, similar to what pushed Emily and Travis astray. One night, over hot cocoa by the wood stove, Emily suggested, what if we turn part of the barn into a counseling space? Help others talk before it gets to forgery level. Brilliant. We applied for a small grant from the state's Family Services. Got it. Thanks to our redemption story. Cody's giggles echoed as he built snowmen, bonding us. I taught him Dad's old rope tricks. Emily shared rodeo tales. Travis fixed up the place. Pride returning.
No feritale. Arguments flared.
Like when bills piled up, but we mediated now. Not manipulated. The humane ending? Not vengeance, but growth. I forgave. Not forgot. Learning that families aren't perfect, their puzzles needing patient assembly. Spring brought renewal. Wildflowers bloomed along the riverbank as we hosted our first family reset, workshop in the barn, free sessions with a local therapist. Neighbors came, sharing their own dramas. One couple, on the brink of divorce over inheritance squabbles, left hugging. Your story inspired us, they said. Emily beamed. Ours too. Travis high-fived me. Teamwork makes the dream work. Cease. My arm healed. But the scar reminded me, pain reveals cracks. But mending builds strength. Under western skies, where horizons stretch forever, so does hope for second chances. Dad's spirit lingered in the wind-whipped pines, whispering approval. We'd honored him, not with walls, but bridges. As summer heat baked the Montana earth, the ranch buzzed with new life. We'd expanded the Family Reset program, partnering with Billings Community Center for monthly meetups. Emily handled logistics, her organizational skills shining without the shadow of deceit. Travis rebuilt the old corral, his hands steady now that he'd kicked the gambling. Weekly meetings in town kept him accountable.
Me?
I coordinated guest speakers, lawyers on estate planning, therapists on communication. It was cathartic, turning our mess into a map for others. But healing wasn't linear. One scorching July afternoon, as I mended a fence post, Emily stormed up, face redder than the sunset. Why'd you veto selling that back acre? We need cash for Cody's school. I wiped sweat, staying calm. It's prime grazing land, sell it. And we risk the herd. Let's budget instead. She huffed off, old resentments flaring. That night, over dinner, Travis mediated. Talk it out. Ladies. We did, hours later. Compromising on a smaller plot lease. Lesson reinforced. Conflict's okay if resolved openly. Legally, everything solidified. Patent filed final papers. Joint management agreement. With clauses for fair buyouts if needed. No more forgeries possible. Digital notarization now standard in Montana for wills. Aunt Clara visited often, baking pies and sharing Mom's old recipes. Proud of you girls, she'd say. Jake even moved closer, helping with hay baling. Family web strengthening. My personal growth? I started dating, met a kind vet named Luke at a livestock auction.
No ruse.
But his steady presence reminded me life extended beyond drama. You're resilient, he said on our first hike up the rim rocks. Like these cliffs. Blushing, I shared the story. Not alone took a village. He nodded. That's the West Way. Cody thrived, calling me Aunt Ree with glee. We built a treehouse in the old oak, echoing childhood memories. One evening, as stars pricked the velvet sky, Emily and I sat by a bonfire. Remember Dad's stories about Granddad homesteading here? She asked.
Yeah.
Perseverance. She squeezed my hand. We almost lost that. Tears mingled with smoke. But we didn't. The program grew. Media caught wind. A local paper ran Sisters Turn Betrayal into Beacon, humane angle highlighted. No sensationalism, focused on redemption. Calls poured in, families from Wyoming, Idaho, seeking advice. We expanded online. Free webinars on avoiding inheritance pitfalls, clear legal tips mixed with emotional tools. Fall harvest brought abundance. As we baled hay, Travis confessed. That okay, text? Cowardice. Thought if you didn't make it, insurance would cover debts.
Good punch. But honest.
Forgiven, I said. But communicate next time.
He grinned. Deal.
Thanksgiving sealed it. Full house. Turkey roasting. Laughter echoing. Clara toasted. To mending fences, literal and not.
Scherzang.
Later. Alone on the porch. I whispered to Dad's memory. We got it right. Peace settled like fresh snow. Word count. 512. Wait. That's short. Let me expand for full count. Winter returned, blanketing the ranch in quiet white. We hosted holiday workshops, navigating family stress. Emily shone, sharing our tale anonymized. One word, okay, spark change, she'd say. Attendees nodded. Stories flowing. One man admitted forging a parent's signature. We guided him to confess legally, avoiding our pitfalls. My bond with Cody deepened. He drew pictures of us as super ants. Luke proposed a casual trip to Yellowstone. I said yes. Heart-opening. You're building something beautiful, he noted. True, the ranch wasn't just land. It was legacy reborn. Spring thaw revealed growth. Program grants doubled. Barn now a certified community hub. Emily and I co-authored a booklet, From Fracture to Family, Montana Lessons. Sold locally. Proceeds to scholarships. As wildflowers bloomed again, reflection hit. The accident wasn't curse, but catalyst. Humane path chosen, forgiveness with boundaries, taught that vulnerability mends deeper than vengeance. Under endless skies, we'd reclaimed not just a house, but home. Years blended like seasons on the ranch, but that first full cycle post-resolution stood out. By the following summer, our family reset had helped over 50 families, divorces averted, wills redrafted fairly. Emily and Travis thrived. His business rebounded with honest bids. Hers in program coordination.
Cody,
now school age, boasted about Aunt Ree's magic arm from the accident scar. I married Luke in a simple ceremony under the oak tree, Emily as maid of honor. Tears flowing. Cease. You deserve this, she whispered. Travis walked me down the aisle. Symbolic nod to rebuilt trust. Guests included program alums, turning it into a celebration of second chances. Legally, we updated everything, living trusts, clear beneficiaries, annual reviews. No room for ambiguity. Patton became a friend. Speaking at events, Montana law protects. But hearts heal. Challenges came. A drought tested the land, mirroring life's trials. We adapted, installing irrigation with grant funds. Emily confided during a late-night chat, I almost lost you twice, accident and anger. I hugged her. But we chose better. The light lesson? Families like ranching, nurture daily, weather storms together, harvest forgiveness. Vengeance withers. Humanity blooms. As I watched Cody ride his first pony, sun dipping low, peace enveloped me. Dads will honored, not in ownership, but unity. Under western stars, we'd written a new chapter, one of grace, logic, and love. No more silence, only stories shared. Decades later, looking back, the accident was the pivot. We expanded the program statewide, even nationally via podcasts. Emily wrote a book. I consulted on family law reforms. Travis mentored young entrepreneurs. Cody grew into a fine man, taking over ranch ops. Thanks to you all, he'd say. Grandkids now chase chickens. Cycle repeating healthily. The humane shift? Clear legal paths prevented pain. But emotional openness healed it. Lesson: speak truths kindly. Listen deeply. In America's West, where space is vast, hearts need no walls. Fading into sunset rides with Luke. I smiled. Betrayal birthed beauty. Families not given, it's chosen.
Daily.